The massive view screen aboard the Earth ship Hope displayed an alien space station that looked like a giant silver snowflake against the backdrop of distant stars. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back, trying to keep his excitement under control. After decades of space exploration, humanity had finally made contact with the Galactic Council. "Sir, we're receiving docking instructions," reported Tom, the young navigator. His fingers flew across the control panel, adjusting their approach vector. Walker nodded, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. As Earth's chosen representative, he led a delegation of 50 humans, scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. They were about to become the first humans to step foot on a Galactic Council station. The docking procedure went smoothly, almost too smoothly. Walker noticed how the alien technology seamlessly integrated with their ship's systems, making him wonder just how long the Council had been watching Earth. The thought made him slightly uneasy, but he pushed it aside. Today was supposed to be a celebration. The Council's welcome party consisted of beings from 6 different species. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4, and one seemed to float above the ground. Their leader, a tall blue-skinned creature with 4 arms, introduced himself as the High Speaker. "Welcome, children of Earth," the High Speaker said through a translator device. "We have watched your species grow with great interest." Walker and his team followed their hosts through gleaming corridors. The station's architecture was both beautiful and intimidating, all sweeping curves and impossible angles that seemed to defy physics. Other alien species stopped to stare at the humans as they passed, some making gestures that Walker couldn't interpret. The council chamber itself was enormous, a circular room with tiered seating that rose hundreds of feet high. Representatives from what must have been hundreds of species filled the seats, creating a rainbow of colors and shapes that took Walker's breath away. "Please, take your place in the center," the High Speaker gestured to a circular platform. Walker led his delegation to the spot, noticing how the platform gave them a clear view of all the council members and gave the council members a clear view of them. The lighting seemed to intensify, focusing on the humans like specimens under a microscope. "Esteemed members of the council," the High Speaker's voice boomed through the chamber. "Today we welcome the representatives of Earth, who believe they are ready to join our galactic community." Something in the High Speaker's tone made Walker's military instincts flare up. The word "believe" had been said with an odd emphasis. However, the High Speaker continued. "After careful deliberation and centuries of observation, the Council has reached a different conclusion." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Walker's hand instinctively moved toward his sidearm, but he kept it still. Around the chamber, he noticed security barriers quietly activating. Humanity has been judged too aggressive, too unpredictable, and too unstable to join galactic society. Your technological progress has been impressive, but your violent tendencies make you a threat to galactic peace. "What?" Walker stepped forward. "We came here in peace. We've proven ourselves ready for peaceful contact. Have you?" The High Speaker's 4 arms spread wide, activating a holographic display. Images of Earth's wars, nuclear tests, and environmental damage filled the air around them. "Your history speaks otherwise. But fear not. We are not without mercy. Earth will be quarantined for its own good. Your resources will be harvested to serve the greater galactic community, and your population will be properly managed." Before Walker could protest, alarms began blaring from the Earth ship Hope. Tom's voice crackled through his communicator. "Captain, multiple hostile ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They're surrounding Earth." The High Speaker's expression might have been a smile, but it looked more like a predator baring its teeth. "The quarantine begins now. Resistance would be futile and would only prove our point about your violent nature. Accept the Council's wisdom, and your species will be cared for appropriately." Walker looked around the chamber, seeing not fellow members of a galactic community, but jailers passing sentence. His fists clenched at his sides as he realized that humanity's first step into the galactic community had been a carefully planned trap. "You've made a mistake," Walker said quietly, his words carrying clearly through the silent chamber. "You think you're containing a threat, but what you're really doing is making an enemy. And humanity has a long history of overcoming those who underestimate us." The High Speaker merely waved a dismissive hand, and security forces began to move in. As Walker and his delegation were escorted back to their ship, he caught glimpses of other alien representatives, watching with expressions that might have been pity, contempt, or fear. They had come seeking friendship among the stars. They were leaving with a declaration of war. 6 months after the Council's betrayal, Director Anna Smith stood in a hidden command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room's walls were covered with screens showing real-time data from Earth's remaining satellite network. Every few minutes, another alien ship would appear on the displays, joining the blockade that surrounded their planet. "They're getting sloppy," Anna said, pointing to a pattern in the alien patrol routes. "They think we're beaten." Her assistant, Mike, nodded as he studied the data. "That's because they're only watching the surface. They have no idea what we're building down here." Anna walked to a large central table that displayed a 3D map of Earth. Red dots showed the locations of alien monitoring stations, while blue dots marked their hidden resistance bases. The aliens had taken control of most major cities, but they hadn't bothered much with the remote areas. That was their first mistake. "Show me the latest findings from the tech team," she ordered. Mike pressed a few buttons, and new images appeared on the main screen. They showed pieces of alien technology recovered from various crash sites over the past 50 years. What the Council didn't know was that Earth governments had been collecting and studying these fragments long before first contact. "Look at this," Mike said, pulling up an old video. "This crashed scout ship from 1985. The Council ships today use the exact same engine design. They haven't improved it in 40 years. Anna smiled. That was the Council's second mistake. They had grown lazy. While they looked down on humanity as primitive, they had stopped innovating themselves. They relied on their advanced technology without trying to make it better. A sudden alert flashed on one of the screens. "Director, we got movement in Sector 7, called out Jane from her monitoring station. "The aliens are raiding another tech facility." Anna rushed to Jane's station. The security cameras showed alien troops breaking into an old computer factory. But instead of looking for weapons or resources, they were stealing old circuit boards and processor designs. "Record everything," Anna ordered. "This is the third raid on old tech facilities this month. They're not just taking our resources, they're stealing our ideas." This was the Council's third mistake. They thought they were secretly gathering intelligence, but Anna's team had been watching them the whole time. Every raid told them exactly what the aliens were interested in, and why. "Get me Captain Walker on the secure line," Anna said. A few minutes later, Walker's face appeared on a private screen. He looked tired but determined. After returning from the Council station, he had immediately joined the resistance effort. "Director Smith," he greeted her, "please tell me you have good news." "Better than good," Anna replied. "We've confirmed it. The Council has been stealing human technology for centuries. They're not just afraid of our potential. They're afraid because they've been using our innovations all along." Walker's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes. Their superior technology. A lot of it came from studying our crashed experiments and stolen designs. They've been copying us, making small improvements, and pretending it was all their own work." Anna pulled up more data on the screen. "They're quantum computers, based on designs they stole from us in the 2020s. They're energy shields, adapted from our experimental force field research. Even their FTL drives show traces of human theoretical work. How could they be so advanced if they're stealing our primitive technology?" Walker asked. "Because they have a head start and better resources," Anna explained. "But they don't have our creativity, our drive to improve. They've been sitting comfortable at the top for too long." She turned to face the global map again. All across the world, Hidden resistance cells were gathering strength. In abandoned mines, underwater bases, and mountain bunkers, humans were preparing their response. The Council thinks they're containing us, studying us, stealing from us in secret, Anna said. But all they're really doing is showing us exactly how their technology works. And now we know something very important. What's that? Walker asked. Their technology isn't magic. It's just engineering. And nobody in the galaxy engineers things better than humans. She looked at the latest reports coming in from their hidden factories and labs. The Council thought they had Earth under control, but they had no idea what was being built in the shadows. Humanity wasn't just planning to survive the quarantine. They were planning to break it. And when they did, the Council would learn just how dangerous humans could really be. 11 kilometers beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, Commander Robert Torres stood at the observation window of humanity's best-kept secret. The massive underwater base, known as Project Phoenix, stretched for miles through the darkness of the Mariana Trench. Powerful lights illuminated the shapes of warships being built in the underwater construction base. Vessels unlike anything Earth had officially produced before. Status report on the fleet, Torres asked, his voice carrying through the command center. Ship 7 completed final pressure testing this morning, replied Lieutenant Emma Foster from her station. Ships 8 through 12 are on schedule. The alien metals we salvaged handle the pressure even better than we hoped. Torres nodded, watching as robotic arms worked on the hull of another massive vessel. The Council's blockade ships continued their patrols far above, their sensors unable to penetrate the crushing depths of Earth's oceans. That was the beauty of Project Phoenix, hiding exactly where no one would think to look. A door slid open behind him, and Dr. Marcus Reed hurried into the command center. The scientist's usual neat appearance was disheveled, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "Commander, we did it." Reed held up a tablet displaying complex equations and diagrams. "We cracked their quantum communication network." Torres turned away from the window. This was the breakthrough they had been waiting for. "Show me." Reed connected his tablet to the main display. "We've been going about it all wrong. Everyone thought quantum communications were unhackable because of entanglement properties. But the Council's network isn't purely quantum. They're using regular transmission methods to synchronize their entangled particles." "In simple terms, Doctor," Torres reminded him. "Right, sorry." Reed pointed to a diagram. "Think of it like this. They have a super secure quantum phone line, but they're using a regular phone line to tell both ends when to pick up. We can't break the quantum part, but we don't need to. We can control the timing signals." Lieutenant Foster looked up from her station. "So we can disrupt their communications." "Better," Reed grinned. "We can feed them false signals, make their ships see things that aren't there, or not see things that are." Torres walked to the tactical display, where a hologram showed the positions of Council ships above. "How soon can we use this?" "The system's ready now. We've been testing it on a small scale, making minor glitches in their patrol patterns. They haven't noticed anything wrong." Reed brought up another screen. "But that's not even the best part." He typed a command, and new data appeared. "Remember those engine designs Director Smith found? The ones they stole from us? Well, we figured out why they wanted them. The Council's faster-than-light drives all use a base principle that came from human theoretical work. And guess what? We found a flaw in the theory that they missed." Torres felt a smile spreading across his face. "They built their entire FTL network on flawed human designs." "Exactly. They made it work through brute force and advanced materials, but the basic math is wrong. And now that we know the flaw," Reed trailed off meaningfully. "We can shut them down," Torres finished. The implications were staggering. The entire Council fleet, built on stolen human technology that humanity itself had improved upon. Torres walked back to the window, looking at the fleet they had built. Each ship incorporated reversed-engineered alien technology, but redesigned and improved by human engineers who weren't bound by the Council's rigid thinking. The vessels were smaller than Council ships, but faster and more maneuverable. Most importantly, they were built to fight smart, not just overwhelmed with power. "How many Council ships are in the blockade now?" Torres asked. 327, Foster reported. "They rotate out every few weeks, but they're getting lazy. Some sectors only have minimal coverage." "They think we're trapped down here, licking our wounds," Torres said. "They have no idea we're about to spring the trap." He turned to face his crew. "Send word to all Phoenix bases. Begin final preparations. When Dr. Reed's system is fully integrated into our ships, we'll show the Council exactly what humanity can do with stolen technology." Through the window behind him, the dark shapes of Earth's secret fleet waited in the depths. Soon, those ships would rise from the oceans like ancient monsters awakening, bringing humanity's revenge to those who had underestimated them. The Council thought they had imprisoned humanity. They were about to learn that they had merely forced humanity to evolve. The Galactic Council's centennial gathering was a display of power and wealth. Thousands of ships surrounded the Council's central station, their hulls gleaming in the light of 3 suns. Inside the station, representatives from hundreds of species celebrated their dominion over the galaxy. None of them noticed when their quantum communication network flickered for just a fraction of a second. In the depths of Earth's oceans, Commander Torres stood on the bridge of the Phoenix Fleet's flagship, Humanity's Dawn. Around him, crew members worked at their stations with practiced efficiency. "Dr. Reed's virus is in their network," Lieutenant Foster reported. "Their systems show everything is normal. They can't see us coming." Torres nodded. "Send the signal. All ships, begin Phase 1. Deep beneath every Earth ocean, massive hangar doors opened silently. Dark shapes rose from the depths, their hulls designed to slip through water and space with equal ease. The Council's blockade ships continued their lazy patrols, their sensors showing nothing but empty ocean below. First wave clearing the surface in 3, 2, 1. 100 ships burst from the waves simultaneously. Their hulls, black as space itself, absorbed radar and light. Before the Council ships could react, the human fleet was already past them, accelerating toward space. "Council ships are trying to raise the alarm," Foster announced, a smile in her voice. "But their messages aren't getting through. As far as their network shows, everything is still normal." Torres allowed himself a small grin. "Launch second wave. Begin Phase 2. Another 100 ships emerged from Earth's oceans. The Council blockade, finally realizing something was wrong, began to move. But their responses were slow, confused. Their commanders could see the threat but couldn't communicate with each other or their superiors. Each ship tried to fight alone. And alone, they were no match for the coordinated human attack. "Council ships breaking formation," reported the tactical officer. "Their targeting systems are compromised. They're firing at shadows." On the main screen, Torres watched as the Council blockade fell into chaos. Dr. Reed's virus wasn't just blocking their communications, it was feeding false data to their sensors, making them see phantom ships everywhere. Some Council ships even fired at their own allies, unable to tell friend from foe. "All ships, execute jump plans," Torres ordered. "Hit every target exactly as planned. Show them nowhere in space is safe from Earth's revenge." The Phoenix fleet split into 3 groups, each vanishing into faster-than-light travel. They reappeared simultaneously at 3 of the Council's most important military bases, spreading the same chaos they had caused at Earth. Council ships found their sophisticated weapons useless, their shields failing, their communications dead. At the Centennial Gathering, the celebration turned to panic as reports finally started getting through. The High Speaker stood in the Great Chamber, watching in horror as display after display showed Council facilities under attack. "Impossible," he shouted. "Earth is under quarantine. Their technology is primitive." A new hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed Captain Walker, now wearing an admiral's uniform, standing on a bridge much like the Council's own ships. "You made 3 mistakes," Walker's image said calmly. "First, you thought we were primitive because we showed you what you wanted to see. Second, you built your empire using stolen human ideas, never realizing we kept the best innovations for ourselves. And third," he smiled, "you thought the oceans were empty." The High Speaker's 4 arms trembled as reports continued to flood in. Council battle fleets were being disabled. Defense stations were going dark. And more human ships were appearing everywhere, striking with terrible precision. "This is just the beginning." Walker's message continued. "You wanted to contain humanity. You should have remembered something. There's nothing more dangerous than a caged animal that breaks free." The hologram vanished, leaving the Council leaders staring at each other in shock. In just one day, humanity had shattered the illusion of Council supremacy. Their quarantine of Earth hadn't contained humanity. It had only made them stronger, more determined, and very, very angry. And this was only the first strike. Ambassador Lisa Chen watched the chaos unfold in the Council's emergency session from her hidden observation post on a neutral trading station. After the devastating human attacks, the Council chambers had turned into a battlefield of accusations and threats. The mighty Galactic Council was tearing itself apart. "They're fighting like children," her assistant Jack noted, watching the live feed. "Look, the Blue Star Alliance just accused the High Speaker of hiding Earth's true capabilities." Lisa nodded, making notes on her tablet. The Council's oldest and most powerful species were turning on each other, exactly as planned. "And what about the younger species?" "Just as you predicted," Jack replied, switching to another feed. "The forest worlds are already calling for independence. The mining guilds are threatening to cut off resource shipments. Everyone's choosing sides." On the main screen, the High Speaker was trying desperately to maintain order. His 4 arms waved frantically as representatives shouted over each other. The Council's carefully maintained image of unity and power was shattering. "Send the signal to our allies," Lisa ordered. "It's time for Phase 2. Jack typed quickly on his console. Within minutes, representatives from 30 younger species, all those who had suffered under Council protection, stood up and walked out of the chamber. The High Speaker's voice died in his throat as he watched nearly a quarter of the Council's membership leave at once. "How dare they?" one of the elder species representatives shouted. "This is treason." "No," came a calm voice from the back. "This is revolution." The camera turned to show Representative Tom Miller, Earth's new official speaker. He stood in the doorway, wearing a simple dark suit that stood out among the aliens' elaborate robes. "Humanity didn't just expose your military weakness," Tom announced to the chamber. "We exposed your lies. Tell them, High Speaker, tell them how many of your technological advances were stolen from Earth. Tell them how many other species you've been secretly exploiting." The High Speaker's skin turned a pale blue. "These are lies. Earth propaganda." "Are they?" Tom held up a data crystal. "We have proof. Every theft, every secret deal, every suppressed innovation. Your own records, taken from your own databases during our attacks. Would you like me to play them for everyone?" Panic erupted in the chamber. Several Council members rushed to stop Tom, but they froze when human soldiers decloaked around him, weapons ready. The message was clear. Humanity could strike anywhere, even in the heart of Council space. In her hidden post, Lisa smiled. "Send the next package to the media networks." Across the galaxy, thousands of data packets burst through the quantum network. They carried proof of the Council's corruption. Evidence of stolen technologies, suppressed discoveries, and secret deals. Every species in the galaxy could now see how the Council had maintained its power. "The mining guilds have officially declared independence," Jack reported. "The forest worlds are calling for a new government. The trading federations are pledging support to Earth." Lisa stood up, straightening her uniform. "Time for me to make an appearance." She walked confidently through the trading station's corridors, entering the council chamber through a side door. The chaos quieted as she took the speaker's platform. "The Galactic Council is finished," she announced clearly. "Its corruption and lies are exposed. But Earth doesn't seek to destroy. We seek to rebuild. Even now, our ships are protecting those species declaring independence. We offer partnership, not dominion." She looked directly at the High Speaker. "You tried to quarantine us because you feared our potential. Instead, you forced us to achieve it. Now, you have a choice. Help us build a better galaxy, or be remembered as the ones who destroy the old order through their own arrogance." The chamber was silent. Thousands of years of council authority were ending, not through military might alone, but through the exposure of truth. Humanity hadn't just defeated their fleets, they had shattered the very foundation of their power. And in the silence, the future of the galaxy hung in balance, waiting to be reshaped by those who had once been dismissed as primitives. Dr. Marcus Reed stood in the command center of humanity's dawn, watching as the last loyal council fleets gathered for their desperate counterattack. Nearly 100,000 ships had assembled, the largest fleet in galactic history. They thought their numbers would overwhelm Earth's smaller but more advanced fleet. They were wrong. "All systems ready?" Commander Torres asked from his command chair. Reed nodded, his fingers moving across his control panel. "Prometheus protocol is charged and ready. The council ships are in perfect position." On the main screen, the enemy fleet filled the view. Their ships were arranged in the traditional council battle formation, a pattern they hadn't changed in centuries. That predictability would be their downfall. "Send the warning," Torres ordered. "Let's see if they're smart enough to take it." Reed transmitted the message to the council fleet. "Withdraw now. What happens next is your choice." The council fleet's response came quickly. "Surrender Earth forces immediately. This is your final warning." Torres looked at Reed and nodded. "Do it." Reed pressed his hand against the scanner, and the Prometheus protocol activated. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, across the battlefield, council ships began to drop out of formation. "Their faster-than-light drives are dead," Reed announced, watching the data stream across his screen. "The council fleet is trapped in normal space." Panic spread through the council fleet. Ships tried to jump away, but their FTL drives wouldn't respond. They were stuck, moving at normal speeds, completely vulnerable to Earth's advanced weapons. "How is this possible?" The council fleet commander's voice crackled over the comm. "You can't disable FTL travel. It's impossible." Reed took the comm. "Actually, it's quite simple. Remember those FTL drive designs you stole from Earth? The ones with the flaw in the base equations. We didn't just find the flaw. We learned how to exploit it." He brought up a hologram showing the physics involved. "Every council ship uses the same basic FTL design. You never innovated, never improved. You just copied the same flawed system over and over. Now we can shut them all down with a single command." The council ships tried to scatter, but in normal space, they were too slow. Earth's ships, powered by truly advanced FTL drives that humanity had kept secret, could run circles around them. "We don't want to destroy you," Torres broadcast to the stranded fleet. "But we will if you force us. Your choice." On the tactical display, thousands of council ships hung helpless in space. The mighty armada that was supposed to crush Earth's rebellion had been defeated without a single shot fired. "Sir," Lieutenant Foster called from her station, "we're getting surrender signals. Lots of them." Reed watched as council ships began powering down their weapons. The fleet that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries was giving up, but he knew this was more than just a military victory. "The Prometheus protocol doesn't just trap their ships," he explained to Torres. "It proves that everything the Council built was based on stolen and flawed human technology. Their whole civilization rests on a foundation they took from us, and now we can turn it off whenever we want." Torres nodded grimly. "Send word to Earth. Tell them the Council's military power is broken. Now it's up to the diplomats to build something better from the pieces. As the surrender signals continued to pour in, Reed thought about the irony. The Council had feared humanity's potential so much that they tried to cage it. Instead, they had forced humanity to achieve that potential faster than ever. The Prometheus Protocol wasn't just a weapon. It was proof that humanity had surpassed their would-be jailers. The species that had looked down on Earth as primitive now hung powerless in space, their stolen technology turned against them by its true inheritors. The age of the Council was over. The age of humanity had begun. Admiral James Walker stood in the exact spot where, 1 year ago, the Council had condemned humanity to quarantine. The Great Chamber looked different now. The towering seats had been replaced by a circular arrangement where all species sat at the same level. The old Council's symbols of power had been removed, replaced by a simple emblem showing a spiral galaxy with Earth's position marked by a small blue dot. The final votes are in, Ambassador Lisa Chen reported, standing beside him. 97 species have joined the new Galactic Alliance. Even some of the old Council species are requesting membership. Walker nodded, watching as representatives from across the galaxy filed into the chamber. Former Council races sat next to species they had once oppressed. The mining guilds chatted with the forest worlds about fair trade agreements. Former enemies were becoming partners. And the High Speaker? Walker asked. Under house arrest on his homeworld, Lisa replied. Their own people are putting the former Council leaders on trial for corruption. They don't need us to punish them. They're doing it themselves. Director Anna Smith approached, carrying reports from Earth. The technology sharing program is exceeding expectations. 20 different species have already contributed improvements to the base FTL drive design. Turns out everyone was sitting on innovations they were afraid to share under the Council. Walker smiled. This was what real progress looked like. Species working together instead of stealing from each other. The new alliance wasn't built on fear and domination like the Council, but on cooperation and mutual respect. Commander Torres and Dr. Reed joined them, fresh from overseeing the conversion of Council warships to peaceful use. The last military holdouts have surrendered, Torres reported. The Prometheus Protocol convinced them that resistance was pointless. We're teaching other species how to replicate the protocol, Reed added. No single species, including Earth, will have a monopoly on it. It'll serve as a peacekeeping tool for the whole alliance. The chamber grew quiet as Walker stepped up to the speaker's platform. He looked out at the gathered representatives, remembering how different things had been a year ago. 1 year ago in this chamber, he began, humanity was judged too dangerous to join galactic society. We were condemned as violent, unpredictable, and unstable. The Council tried to cage us, to steal from us, to control us. He paused, letting the words sink in. They were right about one thing. Humanity is dangerous. We're dangerous because we never stop pushing boundaries. We never accept limitations. We never submit to tyrants. But we're also capable of something the Council never understood. Forgiveness. Murmurs spread through the chamber as Walker continued. We could have destroyed the Council. We could have taken revenge for their betrayal. Instead, we chose to build something better. The Galactic Alliance isn't ruled by fear or force. It's built on the idea that every species has something to contribute, that we're all stronger together than apart. He gestured to the simple chair behind him, so different from the High Speaker's ornate throne. The position of Alliance Chair will rotate between member species. Earth declined to take the first term. We don't want to rule. We want to participate. To learn from you as you learn from us. To grow together. The chamber erupted in applause. Walker watched as species that had been enemies for centuries shook hands or tentacles or pincers. The old hatreds weren't gone, but they were fading. A remarkable achievement, Lisa said quietly beside him. We came for revenge, but created peace instead. Walker nodded. The Council feared humanity would destroy their order. They were right, but we replaced it with something better. That's the true revenge, proving we were worthy all along. As the newly formed alliance began its first session, Walker thought about how far they had come. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger. They had been underestimated, betrayed, and attacked, and responded by building a better galaxy for everyone. That was humanity's greatest victory, not the battles won or the empires toppled, but the peace that followed. They had shown the galaxy that the most dangerous species could also be the most compassionate. The age of the Council was over. The age of cooperation had begun.